Working with Infants and Toddlers by Daniel Herarte. Supporting the individual child. In order to help support the individual child, we must use in the classroom the developmentally appropriate practices, or DAP as is come to known. DAP is DAP is a technique or tool to help teachers utilize the best practices or best outcomes within their classroom and to promote positive environments within the classroom. The teacher utilizing DAP will first observe, then we'll reflect on what's going on, and finally try to solve a conflict or help promote the classroom in order best to the best outcome of their knowledge. So for infants and toddlers, I chose the safety and security, support and exploration, and creating relationships with families. Let's begin with safety and security. Safety and security is primarily for 0 to 9 months for me when applying that. Basically, because a child in that age range isn't mobile yet, he needs a lot of one-on-one care. So, in order for the child to feel safe and secure, the teacher will have to promote more emotional support, such as hugging, such as relationships with facial gestures, such as laughing, giggling, anything that's positive towards a child, in order to make them feel safe and secure. Much like any relationship, if you ignore the child or aren't playing with the child as often, the child will not feel as safe and secure. But if you are holding the child, playing with the child will then feel safe and secure. That'd probably be the best mental approach in order to help the child meet its need within that age range. After 9 months, or even a little bit beforehand, the child will want to engage or explore the classroom. So the engagement within supporting exploration is letting the child kind of roam around, explore the classroom, grab toys, see toys on the floor, play with toys. Teachers can support this by getting down on their level, by laying with the child, playing with the child, following where they go, in order to promote this positive relationship aspect. So the best approach at this age range is to support social and emotional aspects. And finally, creating relationships with families. In order to help create a relationship or bond with families, we must get to know their families, understand their culture, understand where they're coming from, so that we can best support the child. The child comes first, so we want to help the child by listening to parents, by understanding what their needs are, trying to help the child meet their needs, as well as helping meet the needs of the family members involved. And for this is the best approach in order to help this child meet its social emotional need, especially as they get older. They'll be more trusting towards their teachers, towards their peers, and hopefully build that social emotional support that can lead into other types of developmental milestones. Building relationships. In this section, I will be talking about John Piaget's theory, about the sensory motor stage, about how social emotional relationships help build, and I'll tell you a little story about relating to infants and toddlers within the social emotional aspect. So let's begin with Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget was a theorist. He was the first theorist to talk about cognitive theory. He first began to discuss this at around the year 1920s. Piaget observed and described children at different stages. His theories are very broad. They go from birth through adolescence. This includes competence of language, scientific reasoning, moral development, and memory. But what I want to focus on is Piaget's theory is a sensory motor stage. The sensory motor stage is from ages 0 to 2. And basically, in this stage, according to Piaget, is the children or infant and toddlers explore the world through their senses, such as taste, touch, smell, hear, and so forth. That's the primarily reason of how they explore the world. And you can see it when children put things in their mouth. That's kind of how they're touching things or exploring it through oral. So they put things in their mouth to touch, to see, to feel the textures, what they're working with, and so forth. You know what? The reason for me to continue to talk about sensory motors and about Piaget's theory is because it's good information in order to support uh, small groups or children with with kind of special needs. It is important to understand some of these things that page discusses, because when, especially right around the ages between 0 and 2, they're still transitioning from that infancy stage in order to get to the next level, which is from ages 3 to 5, I believe, or the professional stage. And within this transition, it's a bit hard to comprehend whether the children have special needs or they're still, immature and still aren't ready yet to go move forward to that next perpetual stage. But that's pretty much why we need to help to support the social emotional aspect for relationships with children, especially when you want to help with children in small groups, because sometimes we may consider certain behaviors as typically that's not the correct behavior that this child we would be observing for this age range. But sometimes there are delays with children, and we have to best look out. For example, I had a child in my classroom named named Ali. Now Ali was a young, I would say 2.5 year old girl, 2.5 year old child. She had issues with biting. She would bite other children, um, you know, on occasion, and the two parents of the children that got bit were getting upset, and we would have to talk to the mother about Allie's behavior, talking to the children, really thinking that what Allie isn't really supposed to be biting anymore, especially for her age group 2.5. Is something where some teachers see it as they shouldn't be doing that because they should be kind of starting to communicate. Usually more trying to say words, trying to comprehend, and I believe that's where the issue stems from, because Allie is having a difficult time communicating otherwise, and some of her other peers that are a little bit older, such as 3 year olds, are using that verbal, are starting to comprehend. So, when Ali was to try to communicate with other children, she wouldn't be able to say anything. Her suggestions would be to push or to grab or to pull, and so the 3 year old or the other child would take it as, as an altercation, and will then altercate. And because Ali was having a hard time, just even trying to say words, um, for herself, she would go ahead and I guess would get antsy and try to bite them out of frustration. And and that's something that teachers we miss, or we misobserve. So in order to help help these small groups and these incidents for it not to happen, especially within this age group, we have to we have to make sure that we see the child as an individual, and not as a whole group, what the whole group is doing, because each child is going through a different stage in their life, whether the age ranges are still borderline from, like in Pidgeot's case, sensory motor stage, or through perpetual stage, which is kind of the next one to look forth, as they get older, which is more language development, building, when we talk about perpetual stage. But I want to try to keep it on the sensory motor stage aspect of it. Emotional support. In this page, I will be talking about strategies to support relationships with children, such as formations or a connection through shared experiences. Relationships are not only during activity times and one on one support. Now, when we talk about infants and toddlers and emotional support, I want to kind of focus more on the toddler aspect of it. When we talk about the infant side, it's more of the cuddling, the holding, the sense of security, as I discussed in the previous page. But if you want to get more into detail, on how to have shared experiences with the age group, I want to point out to the toddlers, because the toddler age group has more interactions, such as starting to use language, starting to use cognitive development, starting to use physical play, and these developments can be brought through a common experiences, such as bonding. So when you bond with the children, such as, let's say Timmy wanted to play soccer, and just passing the ball to Timmy and Timmy passing the ball back to you is a shared experience. Something that you both have in common that you enjoy doing, such as doing an activity, a one-on-one activity, and saying, oh, you know what, Timmy, I like purple, that's my favorite color, because Timmy was using purple, and Timmy also likes the color purple because that may be his favorite color. That's a shared experience that's created a relationship and an emotional support for Timmy and for that child. It's creating that bond between you and Timmy because you and Timmy have certain things that no one else, can connect, but you two are connecting on those type of levels. Um, we can also look at relationships are not only during activity times, because I know a lot of people may seem or think that in order to form connections you can only do it during a activity time or a physical play time or a cognitive time, but you can also support relationships during other activities such as lunchtime. Lunchtime, you can sit with the child, you can eat together, you can talk about what you're having for lunch. You can you can tell Timmy, look at I'm having this. Some centers may allow you sharing food. You can always share food. You can always give them a taste if it's something that Timmy may want to have. It's just those bonds that you're creating with them. That's not only activity, but during it can translate during lunchtime. Diaper changing time is another activity. Because you have to have that built sense of security with Timmy, and changing Timmy's diaper. Is another connection that you can connect with him. You can sing songs while you're changing diapers. You can have conversations. You can laugh at jokes or make jokes. Oh, Timmy, you have lots of beat today. Make Timmy giggle. Those are all part of social emotional support, and we bring back to one-on-one support. Which in general the toddler classroom has the best relationship with a one-on-one support, because there is less children within that age range, from teacher ratios, from a teacher to this many toddlers versus like a preschool classroom where it has a lot more children. It's hard to build that one-on-one support. So this is the best time to create that one-on-one connection within that age range, because once they move on to preschool, it's gonna be more of a group support or group effort. The one-on-one relationship within the preschool classroom becomes less. So having those bonds early on, can help encourage when they move forward to the next classroom.